Hey everyone, welcome to the Get It Gone formula. This is week 6. This is the week where you're going to be working your simple system. Now, we're going to talk about whether you have it all done or not done, and we're going to finish up and do good work. So as you know, week 1, we talked about the fundamentals of paper. As a review, any piece of paper in your life is going to be one of 5 categories. The first category is going to be something that's in action right now. That's generally where we have our piles collected. The second category is a policy or an agreement with the world. They come and they go, and that's the remove, replace category. The third category is going to be reference or resource. And typically, we only keep the things that are really site specific to us. If it's like how to grow rows or how to do marketing elevator pitch, you can find that online. Better, faster, later, quicker on Google. So you don't need a lot of reference. The next category is permanent. And what I love most about this system is there's not very much that's permanent. The only thing that's really permanent in our life are our education records, our medical test results, and genealogy, if we have any. All the rest is kind of semi-permanent, like your computer warranties and your manuals for your refrigerator and that kind of thing, right? And then the next category is tax. What does Uncle Sam want? What do you need to keep to back up your tax return, right? So those are the fundamentals of papers. And I like to go over it every single week just to put it solid in your mind, because those are the 5 categories. And if you have anything else, it will be trash or shred. Yeah. So we went into creating our action system. Hopefully that's done for all of you, because that's the most important part of the whole system. Then we went into organizing for your taxes, using your tax return as a litmus, using whether you're using a online bookkeeping system or you just want to collect receipts. Either way, it's fine. You just have to determine, and we set up your system accordingly. So we either set it up according to tax line category for your tax return and your Schedule C if you have one, or we do it by month if you're already using an online bookkeeping system to keep track of everything. Week 4, we were simplifying and filing our final papers, hopefully. And then we created the simple filing landscape, which was like, where are your files going to live? What's your workspace supposed to be set up like so that it's ultimate productivity land? In other words, is your $1 million real estate being used for the things that you need in your life right now? And I definitely am working one-on-one with each of you to make sure that you have things set up how you should, how it would be most optimum to set them up. Not I should, but an optimization. And today we're going to talk about maintaining your system in less than 5 minutes a day. Thing is, if you have your system set up, if it's completely done, it should take you no more than 5 minutes every day to get back to what I call that zero space, where everything has a home and you know where to put it very quickly. And the beauty of that is you also know where to find it really quickly. So today we don't have a lot of people online, but I'd like to do a check-in and show and tell what you've come up with. I also want to talk about working your action system, how it's not magic, what you need to do to cross that finish line, because I'm here to support you on that, how you're going to go about working your systems, and then next steps. If you need more help, there's a bunch of different options that you can jump into to move further on down the road with whatever it is you want to accomplish. So I'd like to say, first off, congratulations. The fact that you're here, that you have a hanging file cabinet, that you've made it through these classes, that you've done some work. I'd like to congratulate you and say, good job on whatever you've gotten accomplished. Hopefully you've gotten the whole thing accomplished. But remember that the hanging file cabinets in your closest space are going to be the ones that you're going to use to store the papers that you need to access right away, whether that's maybe your client folders or your tax receipts or whatever it is that needs to be in your $1 million real estate. And then in the business file system, the resource and reference drawer could be the one closest to you. And I know that you had some questions on that, Barb, so we can dive into that. Actually, why don't we dive into that right now? Because I know that this is a question for a couple other people. How do you separate your personal from your business? So what's your specific question that you have going on with this, Barb? Uh-oh, I cannot hear you. Oh, you're muted. So that's easy.
Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
Yeah. So with the color scheme, obviously it would keep like all of your accounts together and all of your permanent together. But I'm thinking I'd rather have a personal set of that and a business set. And if there's anything special about separating them.
No, I like that idea. I actually have all of my tax stuff is together because I'm a DBA. I'm not a corporation. If I was a corporation, I would have two separate file systems for my tax receipts. So are you a corporation or a DBA?
No, I'm just an LLC. So my taxes are all in one place. So,
Okay.
but
So
other
that,
than that,
yeah, but like your permanent records and your policies and that type of thing, you can definitely do a white tab to demarc a category for business versus personal. I definitely have that for reference in my system. I have a couple reference things that like campsites that I like and that type of thing that are separate from my reference from my business system, like all the products that I've made. So yeah, you just do a white tab and you call it either business or personal, or you call it, the name of your company. And you can definitely do mirror image. And what I love about Freedom Filer is you have enough blank labels to be able to do that. So you shouldn't run out of labels. If you do, you can order sheets for like $10 of another color. Just let me know whatever you need, but you should have enough to do that. And that's why we have extra white tabs too. So the idea behind this is just to completely customize the system so that it thinks like you think. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. And, I have most of my stuff digital now. So, I've got paper, but it's not everything for sure.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of hybrid right now, which gets dicey as well. So, from a hybrid standpoint, if you can use the similar categories in your paper file system as you do on your hard drive, and we'll go over that in my digital questionnaire for you, that's going to make a lot of sense. So it's like with using the same system across multiple platforms wherever you can is the easiest way to get your brain to remember what you're doing. So you could have permanent files on your computer, policies on your computer, reference on your computer, and then they can separate either business or corporate or personal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we talked about the taxes, how having your tax receipts in your inbox, just in a folder. I think we talked about that.
Yep.
I love that system because I use Gmail and I know that my receipts are going to be there forever as long as I have enough storage. So I have literally 8 years worth of digital tax receipts in my inbox, just waiting there by tax year, which is really awesome. So if I ever need anything, I can just go through and find whatever I need. Yeah. So I have a main folder called tax and then all the subfolders for each year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's talk about maintaining your system. So remember that, your action system is not magic. If you don't work it, it doesn't work. It's not going to do on your own. Your permanent system, really, once it's set up, there's not much that you need to change. I mean, that's why we do pet records instead of, sadly, my kitty cat Ying, right? Because when he's gone, then I just have to make a subfolder, right? So, so the permanent files pretty much stay the same. Tax returns and receipts pretty much stay the same. That's why I always say once it's built for life, which I just love. You don't have to do anything. Policies will stay the same because we're not saying State Farm insurance. We're going insurance car or insurance vehicle, right? So once that's built, it's built. I mean, maybe you might pick up an umbrella policy and then you just go, insurance, umbrella, and you just add the tab, but the tab's already made in the system. You just have to add a hanging folder. So generally that's built for life as well. The thing that's a little bit different and tricky is reference. Sometimes as our businesses evolve and expand and change, our reference system might change a little bit. But otherwise, 95% of the system is built and it's built for life, and you never have to do anything else with it. That's why we spend so much time. That's why I spend 6 weeks helping people put it together, because I know that it's done. Like once it's done, it's done, which is brilliant in my opinion, because who wants to do this all the time? So so what I'd like to do is check in Did you have any aha moments or anything as you were going through the file system? And what parts of the file system do you have done so far?
Well, I've pretty much just got the business reference. So client reference, business reference,
Okay.
which is mostly client's reference. Um, and my client files themselves are fine because I only have like a dozen and they're just in order. So I don't think I need to really do anything to that. I've got a few files for them, like some people who I've worked with a long time, and I have a lot of stuff. Then I'll separate out like their contracts and have in a separate hanging file for all the contracts I have. But they're all pretty straightforward. And I've got the action system, which I haven't been working yet. And so I still need to go through like all my policies, which, I used to do every year and do that myself, but that was probably like 20 years ago. So who knows how much crap's in there.
Yeah, you maybe have 20 years worth of policies, right? So that'll be an easy chuck. You just look for the current one.
Yeah, and I know I've taken like the auto ones I chuck. I mean, there are things I chuck, but I have my stuff folders is what I call them for all the warranties,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I usually have those divided by, kitchen things and electronics and bikes and I don't know, I kind of divide them out, but so I just need to go through there and get rid of all the ones that I don't have anymore and probably subdivide them more because some of them are just too fat. So
Yeah, well, you have them already made. So it's warranties, computer warranties, appliance warranties, tools warranties, whatever. So those tabs are already made. So just go ahead and make the tabs that you think you need, and then go ahead and just file the ones that you still own into those folders, and that's done. That's easy
yeah,
breezy.
so
Yeah.
that one's not too much. I really don't think I'm gonna find any money, just to be honest.
Really? Oh,
No, because I don't lose checks
I don't know.
usually,
I bet you're going to find a gift card, or you're going to find a
but
dollar. You're going to find something.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully. Sometimes I find dollars in my clothes or
Yeah, I
20s.
just found it. Yeah, I just found a dollar in the washing machine 2 days ago. I'm like, oh, look at that. It's all nice and washed and clean. I don't know whose pants it came out of.
I had a 50-cent euro piece in my dryer. I have no idea where that came from. There wasn't anything like super old in the, like things I hadn't worn since I was in Europe. But I'm like, and which has been oh, years since I was where they had euros. So
Wow.
I'm stumped. It's like, where
Maybe
did that come from?
maybe it was up in a crevice of your machine somewhere and it finally popped out. That's so strange, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, very weird. So, or maybe somehow I don't know. It's an odd enough shape. It's like not something that would have been accidental
Yeah,
in
very strange. Very
like
strange.
Canadian coins.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
okay, so I found 50 cents in euros, which
All
doesn't do
right.
me much good.
All right. Well, hey, that's something. I mean, I would be so surprised if you didn't find like money or something. I really would.
Something. I do have a file of international money that I know where that is, though.
Oh, okay. Well, you can add that little coin in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could talk about the action system too, because you definitely need to work that. Okay, so you have your action system done. What's your plan and what's your deadline for yourself to get this done so that you just are done? Do you have a goal for
Um,
yourself?
Maybe by the end of Thanksgiving,
Yeah, see,
even
I'd rather it just be done definitely by the end of Thanksgiving weekend. That way you don't have to worry about it anymore and you can focus on fun and activities and all that good golly stuff,
yeah, and
right?
filing for my customers, my clients. I have a whole file box of stuff for one guy that I got to go call.
Yeah. Well, and you know what I had said about what I really like to do with client files is just to do hanging folders that are like A to E, F through I, J through L, that, and then you have the person's subfolders in there, and that way they can get removed and you can put them in, and you don't have to really, you have the subfolder for the person, but you don't have to have hanging folders for each person because, clients come.
Right.
So
Yeah, and these are actually like his statements and his stuff that I'm going to take back to him. I just
yeah,
brought it home to organize instead of trying to do it while I was sitting there. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've
So
already created a system for him, but I need to call it and just get it down to less paper. So,
you had said something about you're keeping the contract separate from the client file,
well, that's because the client file is, let me tell you.
something that you carry with you.
Yeah, so this is a plastic
Yeah.
accordion.
Uh-huh.
And so I can just grab this and it's got notes in it and sometimes it, like in this one, it does have my contract in it. But for some people, I just end up having a lot of stuff in there um, that probably needs to be taken out sometimes. But sometimes it's handy because I'll be with them and then it's like I'll have written down notes about something we're working on or, trying to figure out, or I'll have account numbers or something in here that
Yeah.
is handy. So I have that, which is my grab and go. And then I have a separate one that might be my just stay at home in the file cabinet stuff.
Yeah, and that's where your A through E, F through,
Yeah.
that's where that hanging folder system is going to really serve you. Because you get some guy's contract and his name is, Ed North, and you just put it under the N and you'll be able to find it easy breezy. And not even have to have a folder for him, really. You don't have to. Although you might. But that
Yeah.
just makes it easy. The whole idea is let's just make our life easy. And I like the little travel things. I actually use the same things myself for clients. One thing that I did do when we were talking about separating out business is I do have a white tab called forms or handouts. And behind that are all the different handouts and forms that I used to give to my clients all the time. And in fact, I probably need to call it out and get it down to one because I don't really use them that much anymore. They're all digital. But I might find some things in there. It's like, oh, why am I not using that? So that's my homework. I need to go through that forms folder and ditch probably everything. But that was very handy at the time where like you're walking into a client and you're like, oh, I need to give them this so that they can see it. Right. So it's very handy to have forms you can just pass along to them. Especially older people, as we know,
Yeah.
they like to read stuff. It helps them a lot. So so we'll talk about action system here in a minute. So have you found anything do you have a win, anything that you did this week that you'd like to celebrate?
Well, I got through the business reference, which took me quite a while.
Yeah,
And it
that's awesome.
wasn't, it was probably this big a section, but I
Uh-huh.
threw out at least a grocery bag of stuff for recycling. So,
That's a huge win. Absolutely.
yeah. So, it's like you can't just go through there and shift it over. You got to look because it's, so much stuff is out.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. Just like I say, when I go through my forms file over here, I'm sure I'll find like two things that I'm going to want to digitize. And I'm like, oh, I forgot I even made that. And it'll be good, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I was finding things that were like, oh, yeah, that was interesting.
I was so smart back then. Why I can't believe I made that. It's like, good job. So there is a reward for cooling through your system, that's for sure. And then sometimes you're like, why do I have 15 of these that I don't use anymore? Right. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to your action system, you want to toss your old necessary papers. You want to sort the ones you're keeping and then work it. Now, working your action system means this, that you're going to touch one every day. All you have to do is touch one a day. It's not as crazy. A lot of people think I've got to look through the whole thing every single day. That's not the case. You look through one, maybe you open up bills to pay, you open it up, you're like, okay, no. Yeah, okay, I'll do that one. I need to do that one. Do that, put it back. That's working your action system. And then if you can't remember, which I have a memory, I have a brilliant memory, I should say, but I put a clip on the one that I saw last so that I remember right? The next one I need to look at. So as long as I'm touching one every single day and there's only 8 in a week and a half, I know every single thing that I have to do, which is pretty cool. So this is the most magical part of the system, in my opinion, because it's a brain dump. It allows us to get to remember everything we have to do, but not have like endless to-do lists and things nagging at us all the time of things falling through the cracks, because I know for a fact, if I touch one every day, I'm going to see it again in a week and a half. So how have you set up your action system? Is it, what categories did you end up having for yourself? Do you have the
So I have
usual?
pending, which is the waiting for response,
Yep.
quick task.
Yep.
I had created a follow-up folder, which was kind of like pending. So that one's empty because I put it all in pending. So that's just an extra folder. And then
Yeah.
I've got data entry.
Yeah, that's big.
So those are the main ones. And then I've just put some of those client files in there, like you suggested, to remind me of which clients I still need to do something for.
Yeah, and that could be behind your projects tab, right? So
Yeah,
you
and
could,
I don't have one that's actually called projects.
I would definitely make a projects one. You're going to have projects. You're going to end up writing something or needing to do. And the client stuff that you have to do kind of falls in line of a project. So I'd have a projects folder, and right behind that, your little client folder is in the same step of things you have to do. Because generally it might be a quick task, and then you could put the client folder behind the quick task. But generally, any type of client stuff is more than a 5-minute thing, 2 to 3, 4 minutes. And then you don't have physical bills to pay, right? Everything's digitized now. Okay, that's good. And
I don't think I pay any bills except medical, and those are all digital, because you get these random copays here and there.
yeah, and that's all digital for you. So in your inbox, you could actually have an inbox folder called bills to pay, which might be nice, unless you just get it and do it. But
yeah,
again,
I just get it and do it.
Yeah.
Or it's always in my chart. So once in a while you go in there and you go, oh, I got a bill to pay.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
I don't worry about that one too much. So
Yeah. And then upcoming events, you don't really have anything that you need to tuck into there.
a lot of that I kind of throw in the refrigerator.
Oh, I see.
If it's fun stuff to do or whatever. My
Right.
gift cards are or like restaurant gift certificates are on the refrigerator.
Okay.
And then, so that stuff's more like downstairs.
Yeah. And I actually keep my gift cards in my car, because if I'm going to be out, that's where I'm going to need them.
Yeah, we have 2 cars, so I never know if I'm going to be in my car or his car.
Yeah.
So, and then if I put it in my wallet, I'll probably forget it. Like I've had a $10 Target one in there for quite a while that I just forget about. So sometimes the refrigerator is a good reminder. Oh, we need to go to that restaurant, which we did last week. We actually used one that was about 1.5 years old. So
There you go. So you might find a random gift card that you didn't know about as you're doing this.
hope
Maybe.
so.
Maybe. Yeah, let's hope. Okay. Any surprises as you worked your action system? We haven't really quite worked it yet, but
Yeah. Not yet. Yeah, I'm just still looking around at my mess.
yeah,
I think I posted the picture of my desk. So
yes.
so
Yeah. And we can work on that as well, or we can talk a little bit about it. In fact, we can use at the end of this session, possibly do it. So this 6 weeks have been designed just to instill routines in you. Now, what I would highly recommend is you use the same time, same day to keep working your papers. It's already instilled in you that, from 10 to 11 or whatever your time zone is, that you're going to be actually working on your business. So if you can continue using that same time every week, that it's just, you're already there, right? It's already kind of a habit. You already think about, okay, no, Tuesday from 10 to 11, I'm working. right? So that's a gift to yourself. If you can keep that habit going, it'd be huge for you. And then you know real quickly how to schedule around it. Or if someone asks you, a client asks you for that time, you realize what you're giving up if you decide to do it. And sometimes it's not
Well,
worth.
if it's in there, you can just move it. It's like, oh, somebody wants to meet at noon. Okay, I'll move it to 10
Yes.
or whatever.
Two, if you know what you're going to do, you know what you don't do, and then you reschedule it. So that's the whole point of that for sure. Absolutely. So your $1 million real estate, I know you had sent something with your file drawer, and have you determined what should be closest to you in your system, or what? I think you said your client files are right there.
Yeah, so the top drawer, the client files and the reference, and then the bottom drawer is the financial stuff, my bank accounts, and which I don't get statements or anything, but like even
Oh,
my couple of my checkbooks, because I don't use them very much. And then
so
all the checks I've deposited.
okay, so that's a policies department, but the checks you deposited, remind me, are you on QuickBooks or Quicken or anything like that?
Quicken.
Okay, so you should just put those checks in by month. Just, do the January through December, because you haven't done your tax folders yet, right?
That's kind of, well, I mean, no, I haven't.
Well, you might
But
want to just do that.
well, I put everything in one that's just called 2024, but I don't have, actually, I have the checks and the receipts together, and they're in chronological order, but they're all in one envelope. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm thinking maybe quarterly or something. I don't think I need monthly, to do
You
that, because I don't have that much.
could just do it by a couple tax line items: income, income, taxes paid, miscellaneous expenses, business expenses. That could just do you probably and do odd year, even year.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I've got, because a lot of my receipts are online.
Right.
Because even when I go to restaurants, it's often just emailed to me. So,
Yeah. Well, if it's not a tax receipt, you don't need it anyhow. So hopefully you're ditching those.
well, meals and entertainment. So yes, those are the
Okay.
business meals. I
Yeah.
ditched the other ones, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. So again, you could have a mirror image in your inbox so that it's very easy. So you go income, meals, business, office expenses or whatever, and then taxes. And if you had that as odd year, even year in your folder, and you had that as odd year, and you had that as just the tax year underneath tax year 4, then it's right there. So if you can mirror, I would highly recommend that you just mirror image it, just in case
Yeah.
in 8 years from now or 7 years from now, you're audited, it's going to be easy, as opposed to it all be in one giant bucket. Which you think it's
So,
easy, but
oh,
then later it's not. Uh-huh.
yeah, I've got another question, because we have a rental property, so I do need to use those tabs. I just I haven't done. And I don't have a lot. One thing I need to do for next door, which is not really part of the system, but I want to put together a owner's manual or a renter's manual for next door, which I've been meaning to do for 2 years now.
When
So
you go through your warranties and receipts folders and put them into your folders, you'll actually have that. You'll find them. And then you could either put it in a book, or you could have a little bitsy mini file system that just sits in a box over in that property. Yeah, so you'll find them, and then it'll be part and parcel of what your goal anyhow. So that'll be nice.
yeah, so I guess I would just keep the rental stuff all together too. I mean, there's not a lot,
Yes,
like
you
the
want.
mortgage, things like that.
Well, we have a white tab called rental properties, and we also have, because it's a separate line item in your tax return, we also have rental improvements, rental taxes, rental income as tabs already set up.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's actually
In the
in,
blue, in the
yeah,
blue.
yeah. and you'll have a white tab that says rental. So you already have it set up for yourself to do it very easily. And again, once you do that, make sure you do it in your inbox, just in case there's weird rando things that come in digitally. You know, it's just hard right now because we're half and half. You know, a couple years ago, I said, just print everything out and stick it in your folders and skip digital. But now we're leaning towards more digital and less paper. So, you know, it's gray. It's gray. We're
Yeah.
not, I still don't think, you know, we're not going completely digital anytime soon. I still just don't think so. Sadly, one day, maybe in a decade, huh?
Maybe.
In
Then
2030.
you just have to worry about losing everything. You know, like, I mean, you got to make sure you got all the backups and everything. So
That is why I love Google Suite, which is going to lead me into the next lesson that I'm getting ready to do. So I would definitely love your feedback on, you know, what you felt about the course, if you thought that it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm going to ask everybody for feedback on that. And then also, you know, what do you need from me? So what do you need in order to just get it done, right? And I'd love to hear your feedback and what you felt was missing, what you thought should be added. What about the timeline, all that good stuff. So
well,
do you have anything that's, yeah.
yeah, the main problem for me is I missed at least 2 classes, or I was in an airport, or I was in a car. You know, it was like, um, I don't know, and almost like every other week, I think might be nice to have 2 weeks to work it, because you know, I would get back and I would be catching up, and then I wouldn't get to any of this stuff because, you know,
Right.
um,
Right. That's an interesting concept. No one had ever suggested that. Were you able to see the replays?
yeah, the only one I had to watch was the 4th one, which was probably the one that I needed the most. You know, just more of the files, you know, strictly about the whole file system.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I saw the other ones. I think that was the only one I completely missed. Um, but yeah, I mean, just setting aside the time, I think, and you know, it could be that you have the every other week, but you say you could even give people the option of like getting online at the same time, and just you wouldn't even have to be there, just like working, you know,
Ah,
like one of those common study periods, which I think
right.
are really nice. You know, I just thought of this, I hadn't thought of it before, but you know, that could be the opposite week.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Just have set aside the space for people. I mean, that's what the power hour is all about, you know, is setting aside
yeah,
space for people to get stuff done. So yeah, that's
and
an interesting idea.
so for me, it's setting aside the time. You know, like I know how to do this stuff. I just don't, you know, it's, and I do it for my clients, but then I don't have time to do it for me. So, you know,
Yeah.
that's what was really helpful, was just, you know, having some deadlines. And even though I kind of blew them,
Yeah, but
I got some stuff done.
yeah, you got some stuff done. And I feel that you know, again, we have that habit of every week at this time, if you could just continue on with that momentum and just say, you know, you're paying yourself. This is the time in the day that I'm paying myself for my business, right? Because the more you know, every hour you pay yourself, you get 4 or 5 hours back just in productivity. So, and I'm sure you'll find that as you go as well. Um, you know, throughout the course of your week and setting it up. So this is really a wrap for it. I'm really super grateful for you, especially Barb, for you who, you know, will show up as an airport or as you're driving or that type of thing. You know, it's so funny. Most of the students in this class have been working. So it's interesting that they would take a class while they work. But then I know a lot of times just things come up and they want to take that gig and they want to get it. But that's why I'm glad I have the, you know, I have the recordings for people. So, there are some options for you to go, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the options if you want to continue. Now, you already know about the Power Hour. I have, for everybody who's taken this, I have a member special where you buy 4 and get 5 hours. You get a free hour. That's available if you want to do one-on-one consultations with me to just finish, kick your booty in gear and get it done. The Power Hour, as you know, is $97 a month for 2 hours of my time. And then I do have Home Organizing Made Simple that I'm going into a Black Friday special where you can buy it for lifetime access for $47. And that goes through every single room in your house, from front door to back door to attics to basements, the whole shebang, with worksheets and videos and tutorials on how to organize, even down to your bedside tables. So that's a really comprehensive course. And generally it's $20 a month, but I'm getting ready to roll out here. I guess it's going to start Sunday, the Black Friday special. So reach out to me if you want to buy lifetime access for that for just $47. Cheapest I've ever bought it before or sold it before.
How many like modules is that one?
It's I think it's 10 modules, and it's within every module. Like, take for instance, for your bedroom, there's one on the master closet, there's one on the bedside tables, there's one on dressers. So it just breaks down every little area within your house. And what I've done is just put my best practices in there. This is what I would do or have my clients do as I'm organizing each of the spaces. And there's a worksheet and there is an intention setting. This is what I want this room to be used for. And then how to set up the zones, how to know what should stay and go within each area. So it's really, really comprehensive with videos and that type of thing. Yeah, it's just basically everything that I do for my clients does as a video course. Including basements, which I've only had one client basement since I've been out here in San Diego, because we don't have basements here.
Yeah.
But it includes basements and attics and garages. Garages is the big culprit there. Lots of garage. What is the statistic? I think here in California, 37% of people can't get their car in the garage.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's because they don't have a basement.
That's true. Or attics. There's not a lot of attics that they use.
Yeah, and they're hot. There's only so many things you can put in your attic.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. But I am going to do organizing your Google Suite. It'll be a Google Suite course. And I'd love for you to, at the end of this, if you stay online, to just answer a few questions from me about it, because I am developing it. That would be excellent. And it's going to be just organize your digital life with Google. And it's going to be all about G Suite, calendar, Gmail, contacts, forms, the whole drive, the whole shebang. So I'd love to set up a time with each of you who are listening to the replay. Please reach out to me and let's set up a time for me to do a quick little survey. Very much appreciate that. So if there's nothing else that you need from me, can you think of anything that I've missed out here? I don't think so.
No, I just need a bigger office.
Well, it's really funny. One of my clients, she was a speaker, and she's like, I met her after a speaking gig. We were both on stage together following each other. So we were chit-chatting. She goes, I have to buy a bigger house. And I'm like, why? She goes, I don't have enough room for my business. My business is overflowing on my whole entire house. And I'm like, girlfriend, bring me to your house, and I guarantee you won't have to buy a new house by the time we're done working together. And sure enough, I think it's like, what it's been 15 years. She's still in the same house. She did not have to move. But at that point, she had papers everywhere. She had her whole business scattered throughout her house. And it was, how clutter has, 4 best friends, death, disease, divorce, dependence. She had death and disease. And when you have more than that, when you have more than one of these hit you at any given time, your life's going to kind of fall apart. And that's what had happened to her. But when she realized, she put together actually this whole Freedom Filer system, she put it together and acted it in her business and her personal life. then she now had the space to actually thrive in the same exact workspace that she had been working in all along. And she still was able to rest and relax in the same home that she had been living in all along, but it was a completely different stage, so to speak, for her life. And it helped. So yeah. Okay, well, gang, that's enough for me. So keep on keeping on. This is not the end. If you're not done, please continue forward. Make a date with yourself to same time, same day, same bat channel every Tuesday for the next however long it takes you. Hopefully you're done by January 1. Get your papers organized. If you reach out to me, you can always reach out to me for quickies, and I'll give you a few quick tips. But this is the end of the training. However, the training is available for you from now on in your student portal. So depending on, what you need, you can reach out. You can watch these anytime you want, forever. And in fact, what we did, we just loaded a past couple classes of this training that I've done. So you can actually look at 2004 or 2003 training for Get It Gone. You can look at 2004 training for Get It Gone. So you'll learn different things at different times, but all those are available for you in the student portal, and you always have access to that. So until then, gang, I'm signing off, and I will see you in a few. Hopefully I'll see you sooner than later in either the Power Hour or one-on-one consulting. Just reach out to me and let me know how I can best assist, because I'm here for you.
Okay. And then whenever you want to do the Google Suite.
Yep. I'd like to do it right now if I can.
Sure.
Okay. That's a wrap. All right. So let me go into this form real quick, if you don't mind. I'm going to escape here. I'm going to get the form and ask you some questions. Let me get the form. It's over here. You said two screens. It's always a weird thing. Okay.
It must be cold in California. Looks like a heavier jacket.
It is. I'm first off, my house is freezing, and my house is the coldest house I've ever lived in. And it does not have, I have one south facing window. It mainly faces east to west, and it's block. So I think that that's part of my problem, but geez, but I'm a
Where
wimpy.
are you? You northern or southern? San Diego?
Should be completely warm. Well, let's put it this way. Let me look at the temperature. It is, let's see what it is outside. It's 62 degrees outside. So for most people, that would be warm, right? For me, that's still cold. However, I shouldn't be having to wear, I think in this office, it is probably 58, I bet.
Wow.
Heater. It's just stupid. Okay. Here's my 8 golden questions. All right, here we go. I've got 8 questions for you. And this is really a lot for just to figure out how to design the class. So here we go, Barb. When it comes to organizing emails, documents, and calendars within your business, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing?
Probably my biggest is keeping on top of all the emails and getting them labeled, because it's still it's not super fast to do. Like I can drag them over, but I have a lot of labels. And so, I'm scrolling down to get to the right label, or I see something and I'm not really ready to file it, and I'll snooze it as part of my tickler system. I do use GQs. I think I might have mentioned that before, which is a system that hooks into Google, and then in the sidebar, where you can have different, like your contacts or this or that, you can have GQs there, and it's a task manager. Mm-hmm. So you can copy but I just don't use it. That even seems too onerous at times.
Yeah.
Because I can, if I'm in a email that I need to follow up on, I can open GQs in that sidebar, and then I can create a task and copy the email into it and have a reminder, and it pops up in my calendar. And so it's pretty slick. I just got to work it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
When
that's my biggest challenge is just saying, I mean, I just have too much, and I use the promotions and social and updates tab, and which really does help to separate everything out.
it helps a lot,
Um,
doesn't it? Yeah.
and I try to unsubscribe from stuff, but it's just a never-ending process.
Yeah.
So
When it comes to organizing your inbox, what are the biggest fears that you're facing?
that I'm gonna miss something and forget to follow up, and because that happens, especially if I've been out of town, uh, and I'll try and keep up with my email while I'm gone, but it just seems like it piles up so much, and then there's several screens worth, and you never get past the first screen, right?
Hmm. Okay. Um, when it comes to organizing your digital documents, what are the biggest fears that you're facing?
Um, Probably mostly just making sure they're backed up, because I think I've got them pretty well organized. Um, I don't tend to just throw stuff into a general Google Drive folder or on my desktop. Um, they tend to go in the client file or in my health file or in my tax file, or I'm pretty good about my Google Drive organization.
But so you're saying the other ones you don't really put in Google Drive, you put them someplace else on your computer.
No, pretty much everything's in Google Drive. Um, I'm just saying I don't put things just randomly on my desktop or slap them in a blank folder or whatever. I tend to organize them right away, so they're generally where I can find them. Every once in a while there'll be something that's like, was that in a course or was that in house, or like,
Yeah.
where did I stick it? And then sometimes I'll create a shortcut if it's something I think I might not remember where I stuck it.
Uh-huh.
So I'll put a
Um,
shortcut in the other one that I think I might have, where think I might have kept it. So
yeah.
anticipating.
Well, you said that your biggest fear was making sure they're backed up, but if you're using Google Drive, they're always backed up. So how can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, I mean, if it is just one way, and so I try to back. I mean, I haven't done it in a really long time, but I have a hard drive that I try to back up my whole Google Drive to once in a while, just to have a snapshot. Because you really should have, the cloud and another method. Because if something, when you hear about these people that have their iClouds compromised, like journalists or whatever, and they get wiped out, and then it syncs back to your computer and wipes it out on the computer too. So it's like, I mean, there's a little risk.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting to me is that I did accidentally lose a client file. I deleted it and I contacted Google and they restored it for me within 24 hours, which I was completely impressed about. So when things aren't really gone, when you think they're gone, they're not necessarily gone.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, when it comes to organizing your scheduling and your calendar, what are the biggest frustrations that you face?
Mostly with myself, that I overschedule myself. And I'm really bad about time blocking and paying attention to it. I might block it and then I'll just completely do something else or whatever. Um, so, because my calendar is color coded. Um, I think it's pretty usable, and my GQs hooks into it, so tasks will show up in there if I've actually created them.
Mm.
Um, I do wish there were more colors.
Ah,
I could just use a couple more.
yeah. More colors, more colors, more colors.
Yeah, and
Okay,
there's no way to, you'd think that you could add them, but I've Googled it and seems like
interesting.
there's not really a
Yeah,
way to do it.
seems like you could, huh? Or at least do double colors or something. Interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
so if you find out that, that would be cool.
yeah, I have accidentally done double colors before, and that might be something you could actually implement. Because
So how,
I'll book something as a appointment, and then I'll say no, that's a speaking gig, and then I'll change it to speaking gig, and it shows up as both on top of each other as two colors.
oh, is that because you end up with two appointments, two
Uh,
events maybe?
they're right there. They're just yeah, it changes it to speaking, but it doesn't get rid of the other one, even though I go in to edit the other one. So it's been a little bit of a funky thing, but do have things that have two colors on them. It just
Wow.
made me think about that. I'm like, oh, okay, this could be a workaround for that. But
That
I
would
don't,
be awesome, but I've never seen how to do that.
well,
That's,
I don't like it. It doesn't change my real event. So anyhow, what would you like to learn about organizing with Google Suite?
I'm pretty organized, but just the backlog of old files, how to, just, you just buy more space, right? But it'd be nice to reduce it somehow. Um, I'm up to the 100 gig level, and I'm afraid I might hit that one, um, my limit on that one. I don't remember how much I have left. Oh,
Yes.
actually, I'm not too bad. I've used 27 gigs,
Okay.
so
Well,
I got a
something
ways to go.
Yeah, well, something that actually could be good is for us to explore how to eliminate duplicate files, things like that. So even though they might be called different things, so that might be something. Yeah, that could be something I could check into.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and then being able to find large files. Um,
yeah,
a lot of people probably wouldn't be able to figure out how to do the. Like I am frustrated with the search
with
because
what?
I'll the search function, and I don't know if it's a Windows problem. I think it's a Windows problem. Not necessarily because I'm not searching in Google Drive. I'm searching in Windows, and I'll look for stuff, and I'll be looking at a file, and I'll put in some word that's in the file name, and it won't come up as a file. It's like it's just not returning any results. But I think it's a Windows problem. So,
Yeah, why aren't you searching for it in Google Suite or Google Drive?
well, and that would be online. I tend to just use Google Drive on my desktop for the most part, and then it syncs to I probably could. Um,
So you're
Let me go to
uh,
Google
let me
Drive.
Let me see if I understand. So you're searching so you're on your computer with the little thing and you're trying to search something and it's not coming up because you're not searching within Google Drive, which is where all your documents are.
Yeah, though it's all synced to my hard drive, so maybe
Mm,
it's because there's another issue with the like things that are actually on my computer versus only in the cloud and downloaded when you need them. And it's not necessarily easy to see that. They all show synced, the little icon, but
mhm.
I'm not
Okay.
so sure that I can always get, if I'm not online, I can't get to my Google Drive, but yet I've said for some things I want them to be offline, available offline.
There is a way to see your documents offline in Google Drive. Definitely.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I seems like I'll have to experiment again because I'm always online, but it seems like sometimes as I'm like logging in, the Google Drive won't come up for a while. And if I click on something, it'll say that's not available.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, there's some good
So
stuff we can go through for this. What would your perfect Google tech life look like?
mm, okay, looking at Drive Online, which I'm doing right now, with the shared with, sometimes it's hard to figure out like who owns a file. Well, no, that's shared by. There was something I was having trouble with the other day in the sharing. The sharing's a little clunky. Like if I've shared something, I can't necessarily go back. Like if I don't always see what I want to see, but it's been a while since I've done it. So
Yeah. So probably, okay. Learning how to search and find docs is probably,
and
yeah.
then sharing, I think, is definitely a big one. And the differences, sharing with a link versus sharing logged in, and does the other person have to have a Gmail account because they always ask that, and
Right.
some of
Okay.
those kinds of things I think would be useful for people to have all in one place.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do a lot about that. So that's good. What would you like to see in a Google Suite package where you would feel supported enough that you could actually get results?
Hmm. Well, I think if something kind of like you do with the filing system, so just kind of methodically go through, which is probably what you're thinking, one week on calendar and another week on tasks and another week on maybe 2 weeks on Google Drive, or um and organizing email, and some people might want to try inbox zero, so that might be one um thing. uh
Okay.
and then just managing it is the big thing. It's like just
Yeah.
it's just kind of overwhelming because of all the emails and all the files in Google Drive. And
Right. I know it's so funny. And you know, this being in your background and what you do, it's almost like I want to do this course, but in a way, I didn't want to go right into time management. It's like, how are you working your week? How is this going to work for you? When are you going to get it done? Right. And it's so funny because this original course, I wasn't only doing Google Suite, I was doing just tech organizing it, and it didn't work. But it was called the Get It Done formula. And I still might go back to that. But it's in order to get it done, then you have to lead into time management. But time management really can't be part of the course. It needs to be a separate course because it's a whole big daddy thing, right? How are you going to take control of your life and your time? So it's always like, yeah, like which should come first, right? And people don't
yeah,
want to do time management. They don't want to do a time management thing. It's such a drudge, right? But at the same time, I give them all these tools. They set everything up, and yeah, it's always a
and
question.
time management is my big issue. So
Yeah. And I think with everyone, you know why? Because we're entrepreneurs. And the reason we're entrepreneurs is because we want to call our own shots and do our own thing on our own time. And so, I'm the biggest rebel about time management. Don't fence me in. So that's how I came up with an umbrella of intentions. And that really works for me. And that's what I teach. Okay, well, this has been really helpful. So how much would you actually pay for a package that we just described?
ooh, that's tough just because I feel like I don't really need it for Google Suite. I mean, I feel like I've got that kind of down. Um, so I probably wouldn't pay. I mean, it also depends on how big the class is. Like how many modules are you going to do, and you kind of think about it that way, or how big a mess you're in. I mean, I would think 300 with specials, to get people to sign up. I don't know. I mean, for me, the 97 is kind of a sweet spot. But that's pretty inexpensive. So if you're doing something live, because if it was one that you just were giving access to, then I would say $100. But if you're doing it live, that's a whole different thing. And with the time with you, so I don't know. I'm not a good judge of cost.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree with you. And this will end up getting put in the can. So it will end up being like that after the fact. But it does need to be live so I can really see exactly what the pain points are and exactly what people need. I'll have the whole thing. I already have it pretty much designed, adding on some bells and whistles. And it is going to be probably a 6-week thing again, right? And then it will be put in the can so that other people can actually sell it to their people that need it. Because I just spoke with do you know Amana Guy?
Mm-mm.
He has a JV collaboration. He's just amazing. He's one of my mentors. And he said, I just can't believe how many people don't even know how to schedule a calendar event. He goes, if my people just knew the basics of G Suite, they would be able to do what I need them to do faster, better, quicker, later. So actually part of this is to have a course in can for him. He has a lot of students who need it.
Yeah. And, it's not easy for people that have never done it, but I grew up with Outlook and, I've been using Microsoft stuff since the mid 80s when it was like probably Word 3. And, so it all, it kind of comes naturally to me because I've been using it for so long. And I used to even be an administrator for Microsoft systems and Exchange Server and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I do have a lot of background in it.
Yeah. And one thing that I can say is that Microsoft's really kind of dying on the vine, in my opinion. It's becoming obsolete. And I would encourage you to switch over completely to the G Suite for everything. Because there's
I just can't quite switch for, seats and the docs and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just not as comfortable in it as I am in Word.
Yeah, exactly. But Word doesn't cover you either. Then you have to store it somewhere and so on and so forth.
Yeah, which I store in Google Drive. So, I'm the only thing I'm still Microsoft on is, the only thing I'm on Microsoft for is Excel and Word.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really do PowerPoints much, but once in a blue moon.
Canva all the way. I love Canva. That's a whole nother course.
Yeah.
Canva's brilliant. Okay, good. Good. If I decide to offer this course, would you like to be one of the first students?
Depends on how much it costs. But
okay. Well, because you're part of my tribe, it'd be a way discounted price for you. But okay. And
I'd be happy to be a pilot and give you feedback and stuff.
Exactly. I love it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to book times in like mid-December for follow-up to solidify everything. Is it possible we could set up a time for mid-November to kind of just see, before the holiday craziness happens? And because it will be launched first quarter of next year at some point. I have like zillion speaking gigs in January, probably launched. Anyhow, do you have time on, let's say, December 16th or December 17th? December 16th is actually better in the afternoon. It'd be a real quick 15.
Right now, I think I'd be okay. So maybe 1:30?
Yeah, remind me your time.
1:30 Central, so that would be 12:30 your time. Or I have something from 2:30 to 4 Central time on Zoom, so I'll be home. So I could either do it before or after. So that'd be
12:30.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, between 12.
My time. Which
Yeah,
is
okay. So I'm busy from 12:30 to 2 your time.
right. So 12:30 is 2:30 your time.
Yep, but that's when I'm busy. So.
Oh, I thought you were free at 2:30.
Well, I'm busy. I'm free at 2:00 your time.
Okay, easy. Got it. 2:00 my time. Okay, it'll just
So
be a quick follow-up. I'll go.
Yeah, so maybe say 2:30, just so I can.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
look. Hold on, let me look at my schedule. Yep, that works.
Okay, so
2:30 on the
yeah.
16th. Okay, cool. That works for me. And meanwhile, I'll just see you in a little bit.
Oh, do you want to send me a meeting invitation? I guess so.
Yeah, I'm going to send you a meeting invitation right now.
Okay, and then I'll get the Zoom from you later.
You
Okay.
got it. I'm thinking to switch over to Google Meet. I'm going to make this as Google Meet just to see what happens. I've been toying with
Sure.
it. Have you tried it?
Not a lot.
No,
it's been a while.
I've done a bunch, and it seems to be fine. And I might actually end up firing Zoom. I've been slowly transferring. Well, actually, that's a whole other thing. Never mind. Because I'm looking at also getting rid of putting everything on YouTube and getting rid of my other Vimeo.
Oh,
I'm just trying to streamline and simplify.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just sent you this and follow-up call, forget it done. And that's it. Cool. It's
Okay.
11:11. I can't tell you every single day I see 11:11. I don't know why, but it's
Oh,
cool.
you're one of those people.
Yeah. I see 11:11 every single day and I see 3:33. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's something behind for sure behind the 11:11, and I don't remember what it was, but
Ooh, if you think of it, let me know. That's interesting. Yeah. I always see
yeah,
it. I always see it. And
or
here,
111, one of those kind of things. So
well, and my
111 or
my husband was born on 111.
oh, really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and all of my family are threes for birthdays. So I see 333 all the time. I'm 636, right? And 3
Wow, interesting.
313, 1213. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyhow, okay, I'll let you go. I'm going to eat a little bit and I'll see
Me
you
too.
in a little while.
For
Thank you.
some reason, I'm not seeing the meeting request coming through.
Really? Huh.
I've
Okay.
got the power hour starts in 1 hour. That was
Yeah.
at 1:03, but that was the last thing I got from
16
you.
to 2:30. Huh. Well, if it doesn't show up, let me know, but it was sent. Maybe there's some kind of a
Sometimes things just take a little while. So,
exactly.
okay.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, sure.